there's two stories going on in this film. One is, how do we change life for these people? You know, I think I told you at the screening that, like, you know, I'm not a child. I've been through so much that I'm not interested in fame or anything. What I'm interested in is having my life be worthwhile. And when I saw that, I knew it, like very early on, I knew that if I made this film, that I could literally help 1 million people. And all I had to do was sort of create something that would give people the same feeling that I had, that made me willing to devote a lot of time and, you know, suffering on my family's part to this. So, but then there's a second story, and that second story is, it's a little bit about where I see us as human beings in relation to the planet and in relation to the sort of the consciousness change that has to happen for us to navigate this incredible moment we are in human history. You know, where our technological capabilities are so massive and exploding every day. Like, they're exploding so greatly that we're like gods, but we're like stupid children. Not just children. We're greedy, stupid children. And so there's an inevitable consciousness change that's going to happen very soon, because you can't continue like that. I feel like in making this film, what I did was I use this term. I took my anchor and I put it as deeply as I could into, you know, like okay, if you make a movie and you say, I want to become a star, okay, then you're putting your anchor in the ego. But if you say, I want to find the deepest vibration of beingness, and that is the thing I'm going to stay true to, and that is the thing that I'm going to, you know, like, I'm not saying, hey, let's help these elders because it's the right thing to do. You know, I'm saying, hey, let's awaken them. Let's awaken ourselves. You know, that we have so much more aliveness inside of us and usefulness than our culture actually asks or demands of us. Let's recognize these beings as alive, and let's with our effort do this one small thing. And we're going to accept that music is actually something very central to what it means to be human. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's far better than, you know, some kind of fashion thing or some sort of identity-based thing. You know, let's put our anchor together way down into the deepest human vibrations that we have. And let's see where that takes us. Wow, it's kind of philosophical. I actually had a very hard moment because somebody showed the documentary to Denise. She was upset, and you know, because she was very raw in that footage, and I don't think she sees herself like that. Okay. You know, and so I was very upset because I had never even considered the possibility that she would see it, because I thought she was on the way out, you know, and I never thought that she would see the film. And so it actually, she only saw a small part, and she got upset. So I made sure that she didn't see the rest of it. And I mean, that's one of the few just negative experiences I've had, you know, in this process, just that one. I learned so much about empathy making this film, because it's really you know, like how a baby looks at you, and I think in the very beginning they don't know how to look at your eyes, and I don't think they know how to smile or something. I could be wrong about that, but there's something that, like, you know, or maybe they do naturally smile. I don't remember what it is, but making this film, you know, this was not an easy film to make, believe it or not. It was very hard. The unbelievable thing is that when I'm editing and I watch some Mary Lou or Denise or John, you know, I will start to cry. How could that possibly be? How could you see something 1,000 times and still be absolutely as vulnerable as the person who's never seen it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I believe that, like, the human face and human emotion, that we are phenomenally empathetic creatures. I believe that. I think that almost proves it. You know, when I see somebody on the screen laugh, like Gil, I can't help it, but, like, it's literally like a sunshine inside of me. You know, it makes it's like we teach each other what there is to know about being human. You know, and empathy is kind of part of the way of doing that. I think the documentary, even or the theater, is a phenomenal place. You know, we can't seem, you know, we're filling it with crap most of the time lately. I mean, just utter crap. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I actually, it's strange as I grow older, you know, stuff that I mean, I love entertainment, but when you have created a society that's like nothing but entertainment, you know, and distraction, and I see as I grow older, I see most of story actually has, for me, a little bit of corruptness in it. It seems like it's propaganda towards the idea of the individual and propaganda towards the idea of conflict, you know, and I don't think that is really useful. It's useful if you're trying to live a deluded life. It's useful if you're trying to live in distraction. But if you're trying to live a life where you actually experience yourself on the deepest level, and you experience other humans on the deepest level, and you experience the planet on the deepest level, then it's a crime. And so that's how I feel. See, like, the first time I saw Dan Cohen give someone music, who had Alzheimer's, and I saw this person, I saw them, they were sitting, the first time I went into these nursing homes, I hated it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was scared. You know, I walk down this hall and I see dead person, dead person, dead person, dead person. You know, just these wheelchairs, some of them like it was like a madhouse, you know? I had some very traumatic experiences when I was a child in hospitals. I had operation. I mean, they put this thing on your mouth and you had to breathe this horrible smell, and I was fighting, and you know, it was literally like traumatic. I was a child. So when I saw him give people music and I saw them wake up, you know, and I felt it in my body, in my guts, in my being, you know, and I felt their aliveness, and it literally brought tears to my eyes. And I don't cry that much. I started like, just, you know, like I couldn't help it. Like, it's just like an empathetic explosion for humans. Like, if you see someone dead and then come to life, that is a central trigger, I believe, in humans. Like, why do you write your novel? Because you create this spell, and you're like, oh, like, but this spell is designed to tickle something in somebody else. And it's tickled, you know? Like, if you have a lover, what do you want from him? What do you want? You know, I have a lover. Why not just have a piece of plastic? Because there's something in seeing another human have joy and aliveness, and that you help make that happen, you know? And so that's really central to this, actually. So what I was saying was, at first I thought I had discovered we had discovered the cure to Alzheimer's. Oh my God, you just bring them music, and you know, I was that naive, like, the first day. And then I learned, then it got deeper, and it really got darker. There was no room for their souls. And so their souls started shutting down, right? And when you brought this music to them, which is food for their soul, they had this huge reaction. That reaction is actually an indictment about where they're living. In other words, this only works in a desert. And so it showed me that the crime of putting a human in a desert, there was another thing happening there. And that was me and my crew and Dan. You know, that we were like giving them their souls, and we were watching them like a lover does. You know, and then so they were like, basically like, oh my God, my soul has been distant and away from me, and nobody's ever looked for my soul, you know? And so basically, that's really what happened. You know, we looked for their souls, and we found their souls. But it was only because that wasn't asked of them. And so that's what I think I was trying to do with this film, is ask of everybody, ask of all of us to open up to the idea of looking for the soul of another person and seeing them as these magical beings and really opening ourselves up to empathy. We live in a very objectified world right now. Everything's put in boxes. Even music today is very quantitized by computer. The beat is all made by computer. Now we're taking the human voice in song and auto-tuning it. If you look at television, usually the man is an idiot, like in the sitcoms. The young people are cool, and part of their coolness is knowing how much of an idiot the older guy is. We're actually not interested in wisdom. And I think we live in a culture that actually wants to support illusion, massively, and is not interested in sort of truth. And I think that's because illusion is actually much more profitable on every level. And I believe that the system we live in is actually short-lived. It was designed on another reality. It was designed when we had infinite resources, like an infinite sea, an infinite filtration capacity of the earth. You could pollute, and it really didn't matter because the earth could handle it. And now that our technology has gotten, and our numbers and the demands of those numbers have gotten so large. I had a friend once who was in finance, and he said to me, Mike, if you can predict the future, you can make a lot of money. And I said, I can predict the future. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'll tell you what 80% of the people in the entire world will be doing for the next 20 years. He said, wow, that sounds good. What? And I said, denial. That's really where we are. It took years because I didn't have any money. I almost didn't send this to Sundance because I didn't have the $100 to send it to Sundance. In the very last moment, I said, okay, I'll do it. And I ran to the thing. I sent it to Sundance at 11:59 on the day of the deadline. My brother's company and I are working on making an app, so that this app will like allow a grandson to go to his grandfather and it'll help him find the music for the grandfather, or maybe it would let a child go into a nursing home and not feel, or a nursing home aide. It would kind of take the knowledge that Dan and our team have kind of discovered and just put it in the hands of people so that we could sort of increase more connection, between humans in this small area. And so I'm working really hard on that, and we're going to give it away to the world, give it away for free. And so my hope is that we can, first of all, take on this challenge of bringing personalized music to these people. I hope that in the next couple of years the laws change and music becomes reimbursable like drugs are. The federal government is now doing its first pilot study to see if personalized music can decrease the use of antipsychotic medication in institutions. And we've already done one study at Goldwater in New York, and it reduced, almost 25%. And it really upsets me that there are boundaries. We can't just do this. Figure out the finances of it, and we have to figure out the music rights, and we have to figure out the way. One of my favorite songs is the Toccata and Fugue in G by Bach on the Brandenburg organ. It was a very powerful song for me. I love Joanna Newsom. I love Stevie Wonder. I love Jimi Hendrix. I love Norsum Dorma by Pavarotti. That, I think if you haven't heard that, you have not lived. I love Bill Withers. I love, my brother, Ital Shur, wrote the music to the film. And I love his music. I love Ben Howard. I love Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. I put them at the end of the film because I felt that they had a kind of an awakening inside their music.